Welcome back to another episode of Contagious Smile Unstoppable with Victoria and Michael. Howdy, y'all.
Hi. What's going on?
I'm cool.
That's a nice choice, isn't it? We've had such a week. We've had no AC. Dun, dun, dun.
Miserable. Sleeping at night. The first night was miserable, y'all. Prepare. It's getting hotter over here. Y'all prepare. Take a water hose. Clean the outside of your AC unit. Wash off them coils. Change your filter. Have somebody come out and do a tune-up. Whatever.
It was brutal.
Don't go without AC for a week.
It was brutal. And not only that, but because we have all the dogs, and then on top of it, when you have CRPS, which for people who don't know what that acronym is, it's complex regional pain syndrome, it is excruciating already, and then the heat exacerbates it. And then a lot of people who have metal in them can feel like when the rain is coming, and I'm one that can feel when the rain's coming, but I'm also one that gets really uncomfortable when it's really hot, and that's because I have so much metal. Like, you could just recycle me when I die. Like, literally, just take me to the recycling place, and that would pay for everything. Because I'm all metal. What are you shaking your head for?
That's wrong.
But it's kind of true.
It's true that you have a lot of metal,
Okay.
but I'm not recycling your ass.
Well, you still could. I tell my surgeons all the time, it'd be kind of cool to sit up in the corner in 100 years from now, during my autopsy, and be like, get the newest bloke to come in there, and they're gonna be like, what? Somebody's pranking me. There's like no bones. It's all wiring and metal and pins and screws and plates, and I'm like a toolbox at a dinner table.
Why is that? Because some piece of shit out there thought he was a man.
No, he's a coward.
And he thought he had power by beating on a woman.
I did make a deal with the devil. I have to own my ownership.
Not that women are inferior, weaker, or they can't, handle a man. But you're right. He was a coward.
It took me a very long time to realize that I wasn't the victim, because every time he tried to kill me, I survived. Even the times they said I would make it through the night, I'm still here. I look at my scars, and they're reminders of the fact that I won. I survived. And at the end of the day, he's still him. And that will never change. It took me a very long time. Go ahead.
We started a podcast. We started recording this podcast a while ago. And my wife asked me, because it was all about me, if I felt comfortable.
And now he's doing it to me.
And now the tables have completely turned, and wow. So, hang on, y'all.
Seriously.
What?
You just made a mess.
Sorry.
Ugh.
So, I have a question. Okay. The wife, how can I put this gently? I have no tact. I have no tact. So the question is, my wife thinks that I was raped. Y'all should see her eyes right now. She never knows what's coming out of my mouth. So in my second marriage, I had a psycho Latina spouse who claimed that she had to have it every night, regardless of the way I felt, how tired I was, regardless.
It wasn't like she requested it, so the men out there can't be like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
She demanded it. Like, it was
so
almost like a task.
Every day, every night, regardless of how many hours I worked, whether it was 12 or 16 hours at the jail. And I know, guys, y'all are shaking your head. God, you're crazy. You're stupid. That's what every guy wants. You work at Pizza Hut every day. You eat pizza every day. You get tired of pizza, guys. I promise you. Okay. And then it goes beyond, we'll say it goes beyond making love or having sex to uh, routine, and then you get bored, and then
It's like a chore.
it is a chore. So then you start dreading it, right?
Mhm.
So that's my wife's question. You were basically raped, because
Mine wasn't.
I'd
I
have
didn't
to,
question it.
well, I'd have to, however you want to call it, put out, perform, whatever, every day, regardless. And
She wouldn't take no for an answer.
I'll be honest, guys, I have fallen asleep.
Oh, I have too, though.
Okay.
Not with you, but I've fallen asleep.
Oh,
before.
good save there,
No, I
babe.
have. I have. I've fallen asleep before.
Well, thanks. I'm not that boring.
No.
But I'm 49 right now, and this was back in my 30s, mid 40s. So, what do y'all think?
Let me ask you this. So, non-consensual, you say no, you don't want it. It happens anyway. No is no. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. No is no. Idiot, as I refer to him, we only had consensual intercourse twice. Everything else was an assault. Everything else. So if I said no, it didn't matter. He was gonna either knock me out, make me unconscious, and take it then, or beat me while he's doing it, or stab me, cut me, try to cut out my baby while I'm pregnant because I won't cooperate. I said no, I don't want it. And it became like a daunting task that you had to do. You dreaded, you tried everything you could not to have it happen. You really tried to like make other things transpire so that you couldn't do it. And it got to the point where, I mean, you hated it. You hated the act of. That's what I went through. And it literally, and I'm not saying this to be rude or disrespectful. I'm saying it because it's the truth. But I always say it's two pugs and a push because he couldn't last longer than a 30-second commercial in between breaks of a TV show. And that was while he was dressed, getting undressed and whatever. So, but there was never foreplay. It was, I'm going to do what I want to do and then whatever. And he would make sure that he cut me or made me bleed somewhere so that when he had his moment, he would make sure that it would burn like there's no tomorrow. That's graphic enough. But you say no, I don't care who you are. Men get sexually assaulted. They do. It happens. I have met some good men who I hate have had to meet me because of their situation, and they're really good people, and I wish I could have met them on a different platform, if you will, but they come to me and I know it was really hard for them because it's a man thing. It's humiliating for a man to come up and say, because the boys will be like, hey, I wish my girl would do that. But if you say no and it's taken, then it is rape. And you can have people don't think that a husband or a partner can rape you. They absolutely can. And women do rape men. And so I'm just dumbfounded that you actually brought this out on the podcast because I know it'll help so many people, but I mean, she was a narcissist and she was controlling.
Yeah, if I did not hear the constant nagging and arguing and blah blah blah, and it would just be torture.
And then she'd tell you, I had a dream about your ex-girlfriend. And she would say that all the time. I mean, even the time I spoke to her, and we were only friends at that point, she was just a piece of.
What? You were friends?
No, I said you and I were friends at that time. No, I couldn't have been friends with her.
No.
When we had a conversation, she tried to get into that. That nope. And the line that was my beautiful line of it all was, "I had him first, I'll have him last." And here we are. But she was, the bark of the Chihuahua from afar, trying to act like she's a, like a German Shepherd, but she's a, and that's what she did. And I only had her on the phone with me for like 5 minutes, and I couldn't wait to get her off the phone because she was really annoying. And I remember I've seen so many pictures of this woman. She was obsessed. I don't even think obsessed is a strong enough word.
5,000 selfies or pictures of herself.
But everybody who knew you, honestly, and has told me themselves that they didn't think she was ever attractive. Like, and I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to you. I mean, she, from the neck down, she had a nice physique. I'm incredibly heterosexual, never whatever. But you can still look at somebody and say, they have a nice figure or whatever. But she had a really unattractive face. Sorry. But, hey, idiot. What people who met him, you met him multiple times. They were all like, no freaking way. I mean, my best friend who passed away asked me if I was doing charity work because nobody could believe that I would have gone out with someone that looked like that. But she was obsessed with taking photos, and she had you take her photos for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, and I know with the best intention that my husband didn't do this with malicious intent because I was helping him figure out how to transfer phone from one to another. And all of a sudden, I just kind of got up and I didn't even say anything for days. I kept it quiet. And it ate at me. Oh, it ate at me. And then finally, I couldn't do it. And I told him, and he felt horrible. And he explained to me, how she was obsessed. And I mean, she would go to the bus stop looking like she was coming off of the street corner. And that's not how you present yourself as a mom or as a wife. I mean, I don't care what your physique looks like. I have always told our daughter, you get more respect with the unknown than you do with, like, here's some dental floss, cover a line. That's about all you're going to cover. Men want what they can't have. They like the mystery of it. And when you're walking around looking like it's been painted on you, you're going to attract what you're attracting. You brought her up, so I'll say I did.
No, it's all right. I love you.
But you can get out of the situation, and you can. There are long-term effects that are there, and the only way you can get past them is to talk about it, work through it, be there, be there unconditionally for someone, and let them know that there is no judgment. It's just unconditional. My husband is looking at a tattoo on my hand, and normally he asks me what most of them stand for because every single one of them has extreme meaning to me. And the one he's looking at right now says, "The pain you feel today is the strength you will use for tomorrow." That is the only tattoo on my person that I got in reference to my biological parents. Only one. And I got that to remind me of my strength when things were just incredibly hard, to remind me of that. And I never wanted to put anything on my person that would remind me of them, but this reminds me in a way of healing and strength, not in, a reminder of who they are, if you will.
Very narcissistic parents, y'all.
Undiagnosed, make sure you say that because heaven forbid.
Well,
and it really hurts me because, I have a biological brother who only knows one way of things, and it's because of what he's been told. He thinks only one way, and then it's because when you have undiagnosed narcissistic parents and you have a golden child and you have a black sheep, and they have their way of their roles that they use for you, and it's like they actually will play the kids against each other, the siblings. They turn them against each other, which is what has happened. And I've always said that he is incredibly smart, but he has never been given the chance to grow up on his own, and that's not his fault. And I told him that I don't care who he's with, as long as whoever he's with treats him with respect. That's all I care about. I knew of his choices when he was really little, and the family absolutely didn't want to accept it. And it sucks because it bothers me because of the fact that He has no idea the lies that have been told to him. He has no idea the deception, the treatment, the talking behind his back. I know they do it to me. I know they probably still do it. I guarantee they still do it to me. And about me. But he has no idea. And like when I went to my biological mom and tried to tell her and show her, because my whole life has been, you have to prove your word, because that's the only thing you have is your word. And you can't really deny 400 plus pictures. You just can't. And I'm not talking about just pictures of husband slash dad with other women. And we're not talking about like one woman, even though that's too much. We're talking about dozens of women. We're talking about text messages.
You're kind of eluding the fact that our listener understands.
What?
We're talking about your mom being presented with information concerning
my dad,
your biological
sperm
donor.
Right.
Okay.
Because I was always told that if I ever told her about even one of the women, that he would make her believe that I made this happen. Well, you can't make that happen. They're two grown adults, you know. And even when I said
that's debatable.
Right. Well, even when I said, why didn't he tell you about her going out of town and meeting all of us up there? She was like, well, there's two sides to every story. What possible other side would there be? And if nothing happened, why didn't he tell you? Why didn't he tell you he took her to an 11 o'clock movie? She didn't believe me. Well, guess what? Here's a text message from him to me where I'm in the hotel babysitting that girl who was younger than me. That's disgusting, by the way. Faith and I had her daughter in the room with us. And this, whatever you want to call her, was younger than me. And he texted me how much he really liked her and that they're still in the movie and they want to talk afterwards. And I'm telling him that I'm going to get in trouble with my friend, who's the manager of the hotel, because this kid won't stop crying. And I didn't come up here for a weekend getaway when it's supposed to just be, family time to babysit this kid. That's not, he literally came and dropped her off at the door and then they went out. So I showed her this and it was just complete denial. And then what's worse, and we're not even talking about the other women, is the messages that I showed her, my biological mother, that her husband had sent me about their son. And it was in black and white. I mean, it was very clear. They were right there. And there were things that I knew that there was absolutely no way humanly possible I would have known if he hadn't told me. And I told her just a section of things, like just a handful of them. I said, how would I know XYZ, XYZ? And she just looked at me dumbfounded. How would I know these things if he didn't tell me? And now, not only did he tell me, here's the text message to back it up. Because you know me, Dave, I've always been the person to prove my honesty. Because, especially after, as you know, domestic violence, you always have to prove your word. It's always a he said, she said. Well, not with me. It's a watch out, I have proof of everything, because that's what I've always done. And I showed her these things. And I said, look how he talks about your son. And I said, if I was coming to you to do this with malice, I would have shown him. I would have shown your son. I'd have shown my brother. But I didn't, because I know what that would do to him. It would have absolutely destroyed him. And I don't want to destroy him. That's why I never showed him any of these. She knows, because she's lied to him in front of me, and she knows she has. He doesn't know it. I have proof of it, but it doesn't matter, because he's only hearing and being told what the puppeteer tells you. And he has no relationship with his dad. He only has a relationship with his mom.
So let me stop right there. You brought up a good point. You presented your mom with evidence. And you said she's in complete denial.
Yes.
She was dumbfounded.
Yes.
But refused to accept it. What does that say as far as the narcissistic side of your biological father, having that much control over her?
Well, she's not, a loving, warm mom either.
I know she's blonde, or used to be.
Yeah, but she
But
was
I
never
don't have
a
anything
loving,
against
warm mother.
blinds.
She's never been a loving, warm mother
Right.
to me, as you well know.
But what does that say about the mentality of someone in a relationship like that? Is it her fault or is it his fault?
Well, she doesn't treat him like roses either.
Okay. But what I'm getting at is it her fault she won't believe the evidence presented
Or
and only
is she in a
believe
complacent state?
if he comes and says, "Oh, our daughter made all that up," go ahead and believe
Make
me.
it up. How do you put two people on a
But
picture?
if he's got that much control and she's been, let's say, just brainwashed, lack of better words, uh, and said, "Don't believe her. All that's false. She just wants to get back at me." Then she's going to accept that, right? Because that's easier than accepting all this hard fact truth right here in black and white in
Even
pictures.
voice memos of their actual voices.
That's harder to accept than to say, "Hey, aliens put this in her brain," or she made all this shit up.
She's content with what she's getting. I mean, she went from like, I don't want to say anything that would make me sound shallow, because if anybody knows me, they know I'm not materialistic. You know that better than anybody. But she went from one class to way up into another. And, they eat out every day, 3 times a day. They have maids, they have gardeners, they have this, they have that. And she's now become entitled. Like, she, gets to do whatever she wants, and she doesn't have to do anything, and she doesn't work, and blah, 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 blah. And that's the life she's become accustomed to. She goes on vacation.
Purposely turning the other eye.
Well, she swears up and down he would never cheat on her. She swears it. But she goes on vacation every year with her son. They go on cruises together. And I mean, that's a very unusual relationship. It really is. And I really, deep down inside, wish that I had a relationship with my brother sometimes, because I don't blame him. Because he's being told one thing. And yes, I'm kind of upset that he didn't try and hear my side, but he only hears one thing from her. But he's being ruined, and it's not his fault. And if he ever does hear these podcasts, I hope he realizes that, because, as you know, a lot of people don't know, I'm constantly in school, I'm constantly taking courses and studying, and I have really gotten very much into like the golden child and the black sheep, into schooling of the narcissistic personality and psychology and psychiatry and all of that, because my heart breaks for the fact that he is where he is. He's incredibly smart. I mean, but he could be on a totally different level, but he's never been given the opportunity, and that's not his fault.
So, no, I understand it's not his fault there, but there are a lot of us, and I say us, that can relate to this incident because for me, in my second marriage, I was told a lot of times, "Hey, she's this way. You're not seeing the big picture." And you're right. All you see is the tree. You don't see the forest. And then when you don't see the forest, you don't see the proof, or you don't want to see the proof, and all you see is the tree. And so, um, you know, um, ignorance is bliss, sort of thing. So you turn a blind eye. You say no, and so you basically lie to yourself. You placate yourself, and I think this is what's happening in your biological mom's case.
Well, see, I knew when I went there, we went there to pick up some stuff. And when we arrived, it was on the front porch, like we had been evicted. They had taken our Christmas stuff out and put it on the front porch everywhere. And we weren't even allowed to come in the house. And so that was really bothersome. And I told her that I couldn't live with this knowledge anymore. I needed to clear my conscience. And she needed to know that she didn't really know who she was married to. And I said, I'm just asking for you to look at some of this stuff. And I told her, I said, again, if I wanted to hurt my brother or my half sister, I would show them everything that has been said about them. But I'm not. My half sister would go and just destroy him, my dad, if she knew. Like, it would have been full on, no joke. She'd have gone after them like there's no tomorrow. But I explained to her that I did not want to hurt, especially my brother. I didn't want to hurt him, so I've never shown him any of this. I could have sent him pictures and copies of things and text messages and emails, but I didn't because I know what state he's in, and I know what it would do to him.
Then why did you show your mom?
Because at the end of the day, I couldn't put my head on a pillow, and I didn't want to have someone controlling me anymore in my life. And to have my biological dad say, "Don't you want me to be happy? She's the coldest woman in North America. She's this, she's that. She doesn't care about me. She only cares about her son. Why can't you let me be happy? Why don't you want me to be happy?" And this is what I heard constantly. And then when he would show up and say, "I'm having dinner with the girls," meaning me and Faith, and he would show up with another woman, we'd leave. And he didn't like that because we were his scapegoat. And he did not like that. And so I told her I couldn't consciously lay my head down at night anymore and keep this a secret. I was trying to be a good mom. I was trying to protect Faith, as I always have whenever, because who the hell uses their child or grandchild? And we all know that in the beginning, she had a lot of surgeries and things, and they really were not front and center. Now, I do totally and utterly appreciate the fact that they let us stay there, but believe me, there was plenty of taken care of for allowing it. But I appreciate them letting us stay there. I do, and I don't take that for granted. But to know that she supposedly had no clue was what bothered me. And I told her, I said, "I know what this is doing. And you have to realize," and what people don't realize is when I said this to her, I said, "I know showing you these things will forever and a day kick me out of the family. Like, I already know this. I know that my inheritance is gone. And that's fine because I'd rather have all the love in the world than all the money." And I knew consciously going in and saying this that it would be over. And I wanted only things that my grandparents had that they have in their house, not for selling purposes, but for memory purposes, so that we could keep them and pass them on to Faith and let that continue. Because the furniture and the memories and the needle points and things like that that are in there, that's what means so much to me. That's what I would have wanted. But I knew that was all going to be gone. Now, they are, how would you describe them? Monetarily, I would say they're very low off, right? That's fair?
Right.
Okay. I know what I walked away from monetarily. Like, I would have been set. And I know that. But to me, I still wanted her to know. And I told her, I said, even though we don't have a good relationship, even though you have told me to my face you don't like me, you don't love me, you're still my mom at the end of the day. And I was crying. And she had no remorse. She had no emotion. She was completely emotionless.
Right.
And I said, at the end of the day, you're still my mom. And I feel that you have the right to know this. And I said, I'm not going to allow you to keep any of these. But you can see, and I have more than these. I wasn't going to go and print out 400 plus pictures. And it was literally like, "Oh, there's two sides to every story." She kept saying that. And
so like us guys,
Mhm.
you bottled this up for years and years.
Well, I kept being blackmailed about it.
Right. But you held it in, you contained it.
I had no choice.
You did have a choice.
Well, not really, because my first priority was Faith.
Right. So I understand about keeping it inside. It
eats you alive.
It does.
It really does. I mean, it does. And any time, and I even said to her, I said, he loves to belittle me into thinking I'm absolutely trash. You've heard it firsthand. And to absolutely just tear me down to ground zero. And the thing is that I said, he and I've had 2 arguments. And I said, you were upstairs on the other side of the house. And for people who don't understand, I mean, it literally, you couldn't have heard you couldn't have heard loud music and how big this house was. And I said, we've had 2 arguments, neither of which did he ever tell you what they were about. Both times that he and I had this argument, it was the same argument, I immediately went upstairs, sat with her, and said, look, all I want you to know is I am a good person. And even though you might not like me, I'm still a good person. And she kept saying, well, what were y'all arguing about? What were you arguing about? And I told her that I couldn't tell her because he made it clear that he would throw us out on the street, basically. And with Faith going through all the procedures and all the surgeries and stuff I was going through with my surgeries, I couldn't do that. So I had no choice but to keep his secret at that point. And I said, why do you think he won't tell you what the conversation was about? Because it was about this girl.
Mhm.
And he didn't care. Like, he ripped me to shreds about, why is it not okay for me to be happy? Why can't I be happy? I don't want to get a divorce and give her, half of everything because she's gotten accustomed to the lifestyle. And I told him, you can't take money with you. It's just, you can't. Like I said, I would be wrapped up in love. Our whole house would fit in one half of one of their floors, I would say, safe. And I love our home. I love the fact that our whole wall, and now several walls, are top to bottom pictures of family. That we don't care if we put handprints on the wall. We don't care if, we put a hole in the wall and put up a picture. That's what a home is. And when you come in here, you feel like it's home. You feel the love in this home.
I tell you what I do feel now. 65 degrees.
Nice, right? Right? Changes everything. But I mean, I'm going on, and it's from my point of view. You've known them for over 20 years. What's your point of view of them?
Oh,
and you got it firsthand, not for what you heard
but
from me.
not really knowing them for 20 years. Haven't. The first time I met them, it was the sternness of him back when he was.
Yeah, don't say it. Yeah, but yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, now that I see him, weak, frail man that tries to use his past influence to control, to intimidate. Of course, there's the money issue. Just thinks that he can, just swing it around and everybody's got to jump.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of his world would crumble if she wasn't there.
Why? He doesn't even like spending time with her there.
Because that's part of his control. If he loses that, who's he going to turn to? Who's going to come to him in his old ass age? I don't care if he's got money now, but who's going to come to him?
There are women who would go to him.
I don't think so.
He had one.
I don't think anyone in his age group is going to come to him. She was
younger than me.
I don't see it. Well, I don't know. I just don't see it.
But here's the thing: it's like he knew I had an amputation, and he's seen you numerous times, and he never says, "How is she? How is Faith?" Nothing. He says nothing. But then when I hear anything about him, is he okay? What's going on? Is he all right? And I hate that. But I've been told time and time again by my therapist that if I had the I don't care attitude, I'd be no different than them. And the thing is that I pray for them every night when I go to sleep. I do. But I can't just not care. That's not who I am. But for him, like, he knew Faith had surgery, and he never tried to find out what was going on or how she's doing, how she did. I mean, absolutely nothing. And then when he does see you, he doesn't even speak to you.
It's because I took you away from him. So if our listeners have parents like that, and they have to hold it in,
mm-hmm.
Do you encourage them to, tell the truth, open that bottle, release it?
If they're in a safe place or can get to a safe place. But, in fairness, after decades on the couch, if you will, I learned that this whole undiagnosed, I make sure I say that, undiagnosed narcissist tendencies prepared me for idiots. Mm-hmm. Because there was so many similarities. And then you come to find out that they knew each other prior. And there's more to that. And then, when Faith was in the ICU, they went with him, as you know, away for a weekend and took him with him. And that just absolutely blew my mind.
So how do you get away from your parents?
Well, I've been no contact for years now, a couple of years.
Do you feel guilty?
there are times like when I heard he got hurt
No, that's concern. That's different than guilty.
in the beginning.
Do you feel guilty?
Well,
Because
there's
you
no
didn't.
simple answer to that
I
because let
know
me tell you.
you didn't start the argument.
No,
If your mom went back and argued with him that
oh,
very
she
same
probably didn't
day,
even tell.
or weeks later, month later, you didn't start any argument. You didn't cause any rift that wasn't already there.
Well, she probably didn't tell. But what he had done so much of my life is if I didn't give him what he wanted, he would give me the silent treatment, even though I wasn't at fault. Or if, say, my brother did something, I got blamed for it. Even if I wasn't there, if I was at my grandparents, I would get the blame.
And that's hard because you crave love from a father figure, and
Well, I
you
had my
wanted
grandfather.
it, and he's withholding what little bit he can show you.
Oh, I never had the hugs or I love you from the parents growing up, ever. It was all given to me from my grandparents. I never had, I don't ever remember my biological mother telling me she loves me or hugging me. I mean, ever. And that's really hard. That's why I'm so glad Faith can't say any of that. But he would constantly give me the silent treatment. And like, for instance, he used to flirt with my friends. And if one of them didn't treat him the way he thought he should be treated, he took it out on me because that was my friend. And I would go and apologize to him for my friend's actions. So he would start talking to me again. So we went 10 years without speaking. And outside of being your wife and a mom, it was fantastic time in my life. I excelled in my corporate career. Everything was great. I lived by myself. Everything was fantastic. But I always was the one. He has never reached out first. He has never come back first, ever. But he has talked so bad about me to so many people. And then he talks about everybody, like the guy who, never wears shoes. And he let him absolutely disrespect Faith and like basically yell at Faith. And he stood there and did nothing until I heard this and got in there and got in the middle of it and sent Faith out of the room. But he was like, don't treat him that way. He makes me money. Oh, okay. So that makes it okay for him to talk that way to a child? I don't think so. I don't think so. So at first, there were times where I felt like, in all honesty, babe, I kind of hoped during the period right prior to amputation that I would have heard from them. I didn't expect to, but I still wanted to. And right after, I was kind of hoping I would hear something, and I didn't, as you know. And I can't imagine as a parent. I mean, when she gets a dental cleaning, I'm like right there. I can't imagine one of our kids losing a limb and not being there every step of the way. I can't imagine it. And so he will never come back. I would have to be the one to approach him, and I refuse to do it again.
And I hope, babe, that I'm here to help give you that strength because you, like, as you stated many times, you've gone back to him.
I have.
Um, you keep bringing up faith a lot, and I like that. You, I made a statement about almost 3 years ago when I came back into your life. When I started listening and talking to Faith and seeing her, I made a statement. I said, she absolutely needs a father and she craves it.
Well, that's because I never would allow anyone to take that role. I told her from day one, which I thought was the sweetest thing ever. If you remember when she first physically saw you, she knew you saw her in the NICU. She knew you had seen her as an infant. But she said to you, my mom told me that there was only one person who could ever be my dad, and that's you. And I saw what that did to you. It wasn't public. It was pure tears. And it was the sweetest thing because I told her nobody else will fill this temporarily. This is a one-time fulfillment, and it would be him if I allowed anyone to take that role on. And the thing is, I told her from day one, I will never have you have to spend your adulthood regretting your childhood or healing from your childhood. She can come in here right now and say, my mom has never screamed at me. My mom has never raised a hand to me. My mom has never said anything that hurt my feelings. If she does something wrong, I'll say, you know what, I love you, but I don't like what just happened. Let's talk about it. I don't like what you're doing right now. This is your choice. You're choosing this behavior, and these are the consequences for your choices. But at the end of the day, I still hug her and tell her I love her. And we every night it's I love you before bed. And I tell her numerous times throughout the day. And how
Oh yes,
amazing
I
she
get a
is.
hug every night.
And it's telling, the fact that she knows how important she is. And there is a way. I don't want her to ever have to experience what I went through. And she saw it firsthand. And every time, like if she would say, Grandpa, I want to watch a movie. Can we watch a movie together? It always had to be if he would do it. If he would do it, it had to be what he chose to watch.
Mhm.
And it was normally, I'm tired, let's do it tomorrow. I'm tired, let's do it tomorrow. But if one of the girls called, he's out. He'll go, see whatever they need. If she wanted to go see Spider-Man. I don't know why, but she did. So badly.
Spider-Man is awesome.
Where? But this is what she wanted to see. And she kept saying, I want to go see Spider-Man. I want to go see Spider-Man. He says, I hate movie theaters. I'm not going to a movie theater. Why would I do that when I have one in my home? I'm not going to do it. And then he takes the appendix, who's 30 something years of age, and takes the appendix to go see Spider-Man. And it devastated her. It absolutely devastated her. And I told her, I said, this is not. Do you know how many times I've sat and watched movies that made me just want to crawl into a hole because she chose them? And she was obsessed with the Doodle Box. I dreamt of the Doodle Box because
Wow.
we watched them on repeat.
Wow.
And when you're laying in a hospital 24 hours a day in the crib with them, and they want to we watched Mary Poppins to the point I actually was singing Chim Chimney in my sleep. Like it literally, I learned how to say the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious backwards because we watched it so much. But I never said, okay, it's my turn. Let me watch something to give me some sanity. No, it's what she wants. It's about her. She'd ask them, will you come up here and spend the night and stay here with me so I can have my grandpa? I'm not giving up my bed. Like, this is the answers that she would get. And that is just not what you do. I left my career. I left everything, literally, and moved into a hospital. And I don't regret it for a second. Not one single second. I know I exacerbated my injuries because they should have been fixed faster. And that's on me. And I own my responsibilities because I needed to be there for her. And I couldn't be recovering from the surgeries I needed. If they weren't life threatening, they had to wait. And that was just how it was going to be. And it was miserable and I was in agony, but I was going to be there for her. And that's how a parent should be. That's how it's supposed to be. I never had that. I mean, I had been on my deathbed and I was there all alone.
So now you're away from those people. You feel good about yourself because you let it all go. You presented it to them or her. Our daughter doesn't have to go through that shit because she has, well, you describe it. Am I a loving father?
You're an amazing dad.
And Saturday nights are what?
Saturday nights, man. I'll tell you what, I get jipped. Saturday nights in our home, because we don't have a house, we have a home, is daddy-daughter night. And these two monstrosities pick out movies and they watch movies together. And what does mom get to do? Like, I get to work. And you guys get to sit down there and they'll even say, Mom, you're being kind of loud recording. Can you kind of cut it down? And it really, and then they come in late. And, my
Late?
husband
You mean
comes
early?
to bed late because they'll have like a movie marathon. And they each take turns picking movies. And they absolutely, like, she loves it all week long. Faith drops on hints like, this week's my turn. I get to pick. And it's so cute. And I have to say, I'm a little on the jealous side because I don't get that time with my husband. I don't have a night of the week that's assigned to me that I get ever. I have to pull teeth to get him to do a podcast with me. Like, literally.
I suck at it.
You do not. And we've already had listeners tell you differently. So, but you are such a loving dad. And she even says, you might be a pain, but you're my dad. And she's even said, they play pranks and jokes on each other all the time. And she has said so many times, if anybody ever did anything to my dad, I will deal with them. And she goes, the only person who can mess with my dad is me. And it's the sweetest, loving connection you've ever seen. They always will make you laugh. They have fun together. I mean, it is such an amazing thing to see the two of you together. Like, she'll be so just, oh my dad. And then 2 minutes later, she's like, I love him. He's awesome. He's a pain in the butt, but he's awesome. And he's my dad. And it's the sweetest thing. I mean, hell, the first book the kid ever published went to #1 on Amazon and stayed there for weeks. And she gave it to you at Christmas about being your daughter. I mean, if that didn't melt you, I don't even know. I got nothing if that didn't melt you because that was the sweetest thing. It's called I Am Kitten. It's amazing. You should go check it out on Amazon.
I Am Kitten, Dad's Girl, and
Daddy's Girl.
And dang proud of it.
Dang proud of it.
There are other kitten books written, but this one's for my little peanut.
And it's cute. It's got humor in it. It's just a sweet, loving story that you could read to your kids. That there's not those kind of stories out there anymore. The relationships aren't like that anymore between parents. They're just not.
Well, we encourage our faith to read and write and
draw
and have creative thinking and come up with characters, and then she's always got backstories and side stories and
middle stories and core stories.
And one day it'll be this character, next day it'll be 3 more characters, and she just got to sit down and compile it all into a book.
Right, and then she's drawing beautifully. Oh, her drawings have just come so far.
Always encourage your kids, your youngins to follow their aspirations and whatever they have their interest. We've got a 19-year-old that lives with the first wife, and his interests are video games for 19, 20 hours a day
minimum.
Okay, if that's the way you want to go, I've played video games in the past, and I've worked being a admin moderator, and once you do that, then when you turn your fun into work, it's no longer fun anymore. So maybe he'll see that later on. But y'all encourage the kids to
And if you want to have like an amazing opportunity, reach out to us and put your kids on the show with us. Because if you've ever listened to Faith and Michael together, oh my God, it's a rip roaring riot. It's hilarious that these two just, it's like you can do truth or dare. You can't get mad at each other for whatever the answer is. She comes up with she's so quick-witted. She is so quick. And she will let him hold it.
Gets that from my side.
No, she doesn't. She gets it from my side. Do you want to bring her in here again and ask her?
No, she's doing something right now.
Anyway, she is quick-witted and she gets it from me. So, but she's just so sweet. But like, you ever watch the movie Grumpy Old Men? That's the two of them. Because like you walk around and you're like, moron, and she's like, reform slut. Like, it is hysterical. Like, at least
hilarious.
I've got Faith now where she'll be like, Mom, don't eat. Mom, don't take a drink. Because I'll choke because she'll say something and I will choke. And she will say, it's so funny. And they're like, okay, good night. Good night. I love you, moron. Okay, putz. And this is what they do. And he could be almost asleep and she'll be in there. I need my daddy hug. I need my daddy hug. Now. And she'll wait until her hair's soaking, sopping, dripping wet. And she covers his face with the wet hair. And it's hilarious. And then he's like, really? Is that how we're going to be? And she's like, moron. It's so refreshing and funny and adorable and cute. Y'all together are the cutest thing.
Well, you told the listeners to write to us. That y'all give us another week.
Oh, it's not gonna be a week. I'm so.
Give us another week, and the website will be back up.
Why don't you help me with the website?
I can't. I couldn't even pick a color.
What's a color?
Color. I couldn't. Nope. Nope. Nothing. I couldn't do anything. I can barely type the URL.
Yeah. You know what a URL is?
Nope.
Okay. You even said to me that wouldn't it be funny if I end up getting really into this podcasting thing? Because you are. Everybody loves you.
I'm not doing another one of these for 6 days.
Everybody you've been a guest on their show says you're amazing, and they all adore you. And you have seen our guests come out and say, Our chemistry is amazing. They love us together on air. You need to get your head out your rumpus.
That's because you're funny.
I'm funny looking.
You got a sexy voice.
I do not.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Say, you dialed 1-900.
Wrong number. I love that when they call. Oh, we're calling about your extended car warranty. And I'm like, oh, that's great because I just got out of jail. Do you have a car? You know, you were in jail. Yeah, murder, but it's overcrowded, so they let me out. What? Like, great. Works on me. It's so much fun. I mean, seriously. You know, they say you can't call, you know, people after a certain time if it's a spam or marketing or whatever. You know, you know what? You just flustered me. That's not okay. And now he's trying to be all sly, and he can't. If he does the turkey thing, that's it. I'm done.
Oh, they've got to watch that movie.
That was hilarious. The movie Outlaw
The Outlaws
is my husband's movie about his life.
Oh my! It was so similar to the things that I do and for my wife, and I was cracking up because she's over there pointing her finger at me or
my nub,
her nub. She's pointing her nub at me, saying, "That's you, that's you.
This movie's all about you."
And she's yelling, "Faith, this movie's about your dad. Get down here."
Yes.
So The Outlaws, y'all go watch it. Yes. And I'm going to bed. Love y'all. Thank you for listening.
You just told a whole bunch of people you love them.
Yeah. We're spreading the love.
Why don't you spread this love?
We're spreading our love.
Where's my love?
Go to bed.